time of right or wrong. Tannenbaum, I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions. You give me 3 quick answers. Here we go. Mike T, the Saints should start Tyler Shuck week 1 at quarterback. Is that right or wrong?
Greeny, that's right. He has way more upside than Spencer Rattler. This is somebody that started way back at Oregon. He's a little bit older, but this is a sneaky good offense with Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara. Put Tyler Shuck in, much higher ceiling. This offense will surprise people during the season.
All right, the next one is with the Giants. Another rookie quarterback. If someone said the Giants are making a mistake starting Russell Wilson ahead of Jackson Dart, are they right or wrong?
That's right. Even Dan O agrees with me. Jackson Dart has been the best quarterback for the Giants this preseason.
Wow, that's a lie.
And candidly, that's not even close. Russell Wilson has had a great career. He's a skill-diminished player. You talk about a force multiplier. Jackson Dart is playing fast. He's playing with enthusiasm. Put him in from day one and don't look back.
For the record, Dan doesn't say that.
Correct.
Mike
I have a text.
It's a different context. And finally, the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. If I said he'll have instant success with the Titans, is that right or wrong?
That's absolutely right. Look, they have a really good offensive line. They can move J.C. Latham from the right side to the left to the right, Dan Moore. This offensive line is well coached by Bill Callahan. Cam Ward will not turn the ball over. I expect them to win the division this year and arguably be the best quarterback in the division by the end of the season.
Win the division?
I heard the same thing you did. It's very easy for you, now that you're not a GM, to sit up here and start all these rookie quarterbacks and applaud them, isn't it?
Wait.
Jeffy, let me tell you, it's way easier to talk about doing it than doing it.
Wait. Actually, I get it. I think some guy that bloviates here during the regular season started a rookie quarterback, and it worked out okay.
Went to the AFC Championship game with Mark Sanchez. So anyway, here's what I want to do. We have the perfect group to do it today. I have said on this show a million times, more young quarterbacks are ruined in the NFL than developed. So we put together a little research for you. We're going to call this big number, big question. Here's the number. There have been 21 drafts from 2000 through 2020, which means the quarterbacks selected in the first rounds of those drafts would have by now been eligible to receive a second contract with their team. Of those, exactly 50% of them, 30 of the 60, wound up signing a second contract with their team. Let the record show a disproportionate number of quarterbacks relative to other positions are in fact drafted high in the first round. We didn't factor that in here because it just gets into a lot of complicated areas, and the number 50-50 is just so easy to digest. But the reality is, it is a coin flip whether first round drafted quarterbacks succeed using that as the definition of success. So the big question is, why? Why is it so difficult when teams are turning over every stone, when every possible resource is dedicated to trying to make sure that that position succeeds, the most important position in American professional sports? Why is it essentially a coin flip that it works at the highest possible level? I'll start with Dan.
Yeah, because the most important things for a quarterback are the ones that you can't touch, see, record, or measure. The physical comes second when it comes to importance, and all those things that you just can't touch and you can't measure and you can't time are the most important things. And that's contrary to every other position. Every other position, the physical is the most important stuff at the starting point. The size, the speed, the strength, how much you bench, how fast you are, all that is the most for every other position. So if you're a talent evaluator, a GM, a scout, all those things that you're looking at for all those other positions become primary. And it becomes secondary for the quarterback. It's about the leadership. It's about the accountability. It's about the responsibility. It's about the intellect. It's about the processing. It's about the communication. I don't know how to measure that, and I think that's the starting point of why guys and teams consistently get it so coin flip and or wrong.
And you're talking about the mind and how the quarterback processes. And I would say, in conjunction with that, it's the heart. Now, that's also prevalent in every other position, but it's a combination of those two things that sometimes they don't test that at the combine. They don't test it in the offseason.
I've often looked at it like this. If you're a team with the number 1 draft pick and you're taking a defensive end, you have to have physical traits that are 6'5", 270 pounds. You bench press 225 40 times. You run 4.5. Myles Garrett. That's a mandate. If you're taking the number 1 pick and it's a quarterback, speed, okay. Are you 6'5" or 6'3"? Okay. Are you 4'8" or 4'4"? Okay. How smart are you? How much can you handle accountability? What's your work ethic like? How much can you handle responsibility? How much are you great at communicating to all kinds of different people? How do you handle failure? How do you handle success? That stuff is so much more important than those physical measurements.
Well, I think the other piece of it is, too, is that when you draft a positional player in the top 5, you are assuming that that player has Hall of Fame trajectory talent.
Right.
It's not necessarily that way with quarterbacks because teams are so quarterback thirsty. And I think along with what Dan is saying, that there are so many things you can't measure, it's the hardest position to play. It's also the most dependent position to play. And you're dependent on so many different levels of the organization. You're dependent on the evaluators to get the people around you that will allow you to grow. You're depending on the coaching staff to put you in position to not only develop as a player, but to do the things you're comfortable with and allow you to grow in ways with the things that you're uncomfortable with.
Right.
Then you're also dependent on the wins and losses of a team.
Right.
If you're on a team that doesn't play defense well and now you continue to lose, that's going to reflect on how people see you. And let's also think about this. You're also dependent on patience, right? You look at a Baker Mayfield, first overall pick. You look at a Sam Darnold. You look at a Geno Smith, who was an early second-round guy. All of these people are starting quarterbacks in the league, coming off of very good years, but had to do it at another stop because the patience of another group ran short. And so I just think it's so difficult to figure out how a quarterback will progress in year 4, in year 5, in year 6, but we don't often give them the time to do that like we do some positional players.
And you're talking about the front office and the teammates, and I would also say it's the ownership that provides a certain environment in the organization that sets the mood, sets the tone, provides the money. So it's the owners, it's the front office, it's the teammates, it's all that to go along with the mind that you're talking about and the heart that we're talking about. And it's all those factors that are so difficult to predict that make it such a challenging position to assess.
Don't you think about this too, right? Like, we'll come here, like let's say Derek Stingley has an amazing day. If Derek Stingley gets 3 picks, it doesn't really matter what else happens on the football field. We're evaluating him individually saying this is an all-pro player. For a quarterback, it doesn't work that way. What happens in 2 minutes? What happens in third down? Red zone that leads to wins and losses, which is also why they give up on a lot of these guys early.
It's the position that we attach win and loss to, or if you're good or not. I'd also say this, and the huddle is gone so we've erased the huddles from so much of football. I remember being a young quarterback, and when I started playing the position and getting taught about the huddle, there was so much about it that taught you about playing the actual position. Like everybody's going to when you get into the huddle as a quarterback, you get everybody's eyes every single snap. You as a quarterback, even if I was 10 years old, I'd have to get out of the huddle. They would run the play in. I'd have to listen to a kid give me the play. I'd have to step into the huddle. I'd have to get everybody's eyes. I'd have to communicate the play to everybody, give them reminders of it, then get to a line of scrimmage. I'd have to, on 3rd and 3, be like, all right, guys, we got to go get this 3rd down. On 4th quarter, when we're down. So there's so much of that since the no huddle has been advanced into football that we've taken from these quarterbacks that, like, you get thousands of reps communicating and talking and leading and
that's
galvanizing.
That's how you step out of the end zone.
But that's fundamentally, Green, that's a big problem. In college football, it's coach to quarterback all the way through. In pro football, at 15 seconds, you have to be at the line of scrimmage on your own. So it's almost like you're playing a different sport. And something else I'd like to say is the tape says the floor and the football character says the ceiling. A lot of what Dan
An amazing day. If Derek Stingley gets 3 picks, it doesn't really matter what else happens on the football field. We're evaluating him individually saying this is an all-pro player. For a quarterback, it doesn't work that way. What happens in 2 minutes? What happens in 3rd down? Red zone that leads to wins and losses, which is also why they give up on a lot of these guys early.
It's the position that we attach win and loss to, or if you're good or not. I'd also say this, and the huddle is gone so we've erased the huddles from so much of football.